Hello, my name is Marc Jeffrey, and you are listening to episode 19 of the Marc Jeffrey Podcast Show, brought to you by MPC Solutions. Hiya, podcasters. What the frickin' heck's up? Welcome aboard for episode 19 of the Marc Jeffrey Podcast Show, produced June the 29th, here from the studio on the hill, southwest UK, not a million miles from London. Episode 18 last week, I did tell you that my guest was going to be Carl May, the owner of Lucky 13 Barbers in Callington, Cornwall, my own barber. But sadly, he couldn't be with us this week. But don't let that put you off. I have one hell of a podcast for you. This week, episode 19. As always, we start off with some very, very fine, sexy music. And did you know that artist, producer, and legend John Fryer has announced the second Black Needle Noise album? It's called Lost in Reflection and is to be released on July the 13th. I'm going to play you the first song from their album, Neon Noir, and it is with Dr Strangefryer. There are 11 tracks on this LP, and I love every single one of them. So that's going to be cool. Then we have a chat to Matthew Cahill. He is a hypnotherapist, a motivational speaker from Devon, here in the UK. He's got a book coming out very, very soon, and I just wanted you to meet him, to check him out, see what you think of him. Now, apologies for the poor audio with Matt. I had to chat to him over the telephone, and, it's not the best, but he couldn't be in the studio, so it's better than nothing, so apologies for that. After we've spoken to Matt, then we end our very, very packed-filled podcast, episode 19, with our second song sent to us from Shameless Promotions. Now, track number 2, I have a right chilled-out beaut for you, and I think if you're a fan of Brian Wilson, The Carpenters, and Burt Bacharach, you are going to love it. It's a very chilled-out, relaxed song after we've spoken to Matt, and The Night and I Are Still Young by the Heavy Blinkers. Easy for me to say. Should I say it again? The Night and I Are Still Young by the Heavy Blinkers is one of the best independent pop albums of the early noughties. Now, the noughties is the early 2000s for people that don't know. Canada's label, Obscura, will be giving the classic a re-release for the first time on vinyl, and it comes out on the 1st of August, and me, for one, will be buying it. It is an absolutely chilled out top album. So let's kick this podcast off. As promised, here it is, Black Needle Noise, Neon Noir with Dr Strangefryer.
Marc Jeffrey Podcast Show.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Next, I have it's going to be an interesting one on this episode. We've got a friend of mine called Matthew Cahill. Now, I've known him now for about 8 years. He's a really, really nice, top-notch bloke, but I will give you one bit of advice. Do not look into his eyes. Do not look around his eyes. Do not look into his eyes. Do not look around his eyes. Hello, Matthew.
Hi, Mark. Well, thank you for that.
How the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine.
Now,
how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. I just before we go on, it is my very, very first telephone call. I'm speaking to Matthew. Matthew's in Devon, and I'm in Cornwall. That is right. You are in Devon, aren't you, Matt?
Yeah, there's a bit of a time lag, but
yeah. So if Matt's a little bit noisy, then it's because we're on the telephone. So anyway, Matt, how the devil are you? I've just this minute got back from Taekwondo. I know it's going to sound a bit weird, but I've taken up Taekwondo, mate.
Oh well. Martial arts. I started martial arts when I was 6-year-old, and it's the best thing you can ever do.
What
really is.
What martial art did you learn then, Matt?
I've done several, really. The first one I learned was a style of kung fu, and it was like I suppose back in the day, like a semi-contact style thing. But the discipline for a youngster was just amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'm no youngster. I'm 40 now, but it's all down to Zach. Zach started taking up Taekwondo, and I've sort of like got dragged into it. So I'm sat here now. I've just this minute got back. If you imagine this now, Matt, I'm sat here in me dobok, sweating, talking to you. Hey, good luck, isn't it?
Oh.
So anyway, how's your life? What have you been up to since we last seen? Because I haven't seen you for a while now. How long's it been?
No, it's been quite a long time. So we've now got a little daughter. I don't know if you.
Yeah. Since I last seen you, you've got a new house. You got a little dog, and you got a little baby girl. I mean, she must be getting on.
Yeah, little baby girl, Erin May, the love of my life.
Good, I do.
Absolutely amazing.
So me and Matthew met. It must have been about 8 years ago now, I think. Through girlfriends. Matthew has now married his girlfriend, and I'm still being pressured. We met about 8 years ago, and my girlfriend Nikki was living with Matthew's wife Lindsay, and they were sharing. Well, they had a house together, and I sort of moved in, and then about a month later, Matthew sort of moved in, and it was like 4 of us living in a house, and it was good times, Matt. We had some good times, didn't we?
It was like Friends, wasn't it? The TV movie thing.
Yeah. And I've got a lot of admiration for you because the reason why Matthew is on the show is because, well, we'll go into that in a little bit later on. But Matthew, when I first met you, Matt, wasn't you doing some managerial work somewhere?
No, well, I was doing some. It was a bit of a mixed match, really, because I was on my way out of the corporate world. So I started off as a manager and doing all those kind of things, and then ended up working at technical stuff, making bits and pieces and all that kind of jargon, really, which was long hours, I must say. But, I enjoyed it, but it was time to move on, really.
How many years did you do that for?
That was about 10 years, I think, around about there.
And prior to that, wasn't you in the forces?
Yeah, before that, I was in the Royal Marines. An amazing job and an amazing privilege, really, to work with those guys. It was a family tradition, really. So I sort of left school and went on to that and saw a little bit of active service, went to the first Gulf War and Liberia and that kind of thing. And
I take my hats off to you guys. You're doing an amazing job, and we're forever in the Marines and the forces. Anybody that's in the forces, we're forever in their debt. But when that's about, that's the first part of your life. Now you're married, like you say, you've got a child, and tell the people at home what exactly you do now, and you're going to love this, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So,
look into my eyes.
Basically, it's been a long journey, really. I think it's about 13 years all in. So my main career is being a hypnotherapist. I say main career because I am actually a hypnotherapy trainer as well. And I am a director of UPCHO, which is the UK Confederation of Hypnotherapy Organisations.
Amazing.
And that oversees making sure that all the organisations are working in tandem.
Now, see, this is why I admire you, Matthew, because like you say, when you started doing this, it hasn't been a long time from the time you started to where you are and what you've achieved now. Isn't that right? How long have you been doing this for?
It's been about 13 years all in. But I think, to give you an idea, I did move off pretty quick. So I finished my training and, got straight into it and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of those things, probably like what you're doing now, Mark. And it's your thing and you just embrace it and love it.
Well, this is why I've got a lot of admiration for you, Matthew, because look, I'm 40 years old now and it's taken me 35 years to work out what I wanted to do in life. And when I realised what I wanted to do in life, I then got to a crossroads and thought to myself, right, I know what I want to do. I'm doing it currently as a hobby, but how do I get to the stage where I make a living from it? And the reason why I've got admiration for you, Matt, is because I remember when you first sort of started up and you had a what can we call it? Surgery, would you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you had your first surgery, I think it was over in Plimpton, possibly, over in Devon, you set it all up and you wasn't happy with that. I remember going over one night and helped you shift a load of sofa beds and all that sort of stuff over up some stairs and that.
Yeah, down at the Ridgeway.
And you had a cracking little surgery there, but after about a year, or it might even been 6 months, you wasn't happy. You was moving on again. And I said to Nicky, I said, I can't understand, Matt. He's doing a cracking job, but if it was me, I'd be building on what I'm doing now. And he wants to do stuff bigger. And I couldn't understand how, you wasn't happy with what you was doing at the time. You had your eyes set on something 2, 3, 4 posts in front. And at the time, I couldn't understand what you was doing, but now I do. And because I remember having a little bit of a chat to you once upon a time and saying, if you're like doing hypnotherapy, if it was me, Matt, I'd want to be healing people, whatever you call it. I would want to be making people better, and I wouldn't want to be training people, because the way I see it is, if you're training people, then you're basically potentially taking business away from yourself, if that makes sense. Do you see what? But I can see. It's just like, I just could see, if you're training somebody else to be as good as you, then it's potentially taking business away from yourself down the line. But it's not like that at all, is it?
No, it's not. And I think really, I guess there's so many people out there need help. There aren't really enough good therapists. And obviously, I've got a practice in Harley Street as well now. And we've had people from Europe come over. There's just not enough good therapists out there, really. Certainly down here in Devon, Cornwall.
So hypnotherapy, does it really work?
I guess that's an interesting question, because I don't think it's a case of whether it works or not. It's really a case of whether the person embraces the ideas. So there is a thing called hypnosis, and it's discovered in about 2001 scientifically, where they found what is now known as the default mode. So it's well documented that hypnosis, trance, call it what you will, is there within the brain. It's what the brain does. But beyond that, it really depends on the dedication of the client or customer. So as long as they have the commitment to achieve what they want to, then they can certainly move on and achieve that. If if they don't really want to do it, then it won't work. So it does require a level of commitment.
So what you're saying then, Matthew, is if you walk into your practice and you want to give up smoking, for instance, and you go in with saying to yourself, "Oh, this is a load of waste of time. It's never going to work." Then what you're saying is that it won't work. You've got to have a bit of you've got to have a bit of respect and trust, and you've got to think that it will work. Is that right?
I think so. I think you hit a point there, because at the end of the day, our left frontal cortex has the final say to what we do. And so hypnosis, hypnotherapy can only assist with that. So when people come to see me to stop smoking, normally they're, well, I'd say 100% committed. And so we have a high level of success. But if they come to me and give it a go, and they give it a try and see what happens, then their commitment level isn't particularly strong. So we don't need willpower. We just need a belief system, and that belief system really comes from them.
So when somebody first comes to you, then really the first thing you're doing is trying to make that person believe in you. Is that right?
Well, I'm quite lucky, really, because in private practice, excuse me, by the time someone's made an appointment to come to see me, they're fully committed. So I really don't have that problem. Maybe if somebody sent someone to come to see me and they don't want to see me, there would be a problem there, but that's very few and far between. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. So, so exactly what things do you do then, Matt? We've talked about smoking. What other things do you hypnotize? Because the thing is, when we talk about hypnosis, right? I do apologise. I've got this thing in my head of going to Magaluf on holiday, getting up on the stage, and somebody sitting there on stage going, "Look into my eyes, look into my eyes." You're under. You're under.
Yeah.
Is it like that at all?
No, not at all. What's interesting is that you can't make anybody do something they don't want to do. You can only assist in what they would ordinarily do anyway. So in effect, what you're doing is you're creating an inner rehearsal of what it is they want to achieve. So it's kind of a natural state. There's experts out there who do all this research, and they suggest that human beings go into a trance-like state every 7 minutes.
Okay.
So that would be classed as like a daydream, but nevertheless, it's still a level of trance.
I do it more than 7 minutes. I'm about every 2 minutes. And my favourite music is what used to be trance music, if that helps as well. So yeah. So what other things? So you do smoking. What other things do you do? Do you hypnotize? Hypnotize? Should we say that? What other things do you hypnotize people on?
Yeah, I suppose we could look at because hypnotherapy really incorporates all different styles of therapy. Certainly, solution-focused hypnotherapy, we pull on the best of all different styles. But really, things like anxiety, which is quite a large problem out there at the moment. Over a period of time, we're able to remove the anxiety and allow the person to live a happy, normal, anxiety-free life. And that's quite a big deal. And we can deal with all levels of anxiety, from a fear of the phone going, whatever it may well be, to social anxiety, all those kind of things, really.
What is your beliefs on medicine then, Matthew? Do you think that we're being prescribed more drugs than what we actually need? Do you think that we can sort people's heads out through anxiety and stuff like that? Do you think we can sort it out, without using drugs? Do you think it's being used too much?
Well, I'm probably going to surprise you here, Mark, but I think medicines are brilliant, and I think they have a place. So I think something like hypnotherapy is fantastic to work alongside medicine. And if somebody doesn't want to take medicine, well, that's fine too. You can certainly use this without the medical intervention, but you would usually use it alongside, and that's when you get the best benefits, really, using the latest technologies and the power of the person's brain.
Do you do anything with depression at all?
Yeah, we can help with depression. I'd say that's the second biggest thing we deal with. So anxiety would be the biggest, depression generally the second. And this quite often takes a little bit of time. The main reason being is because someone who's depressed, they may well have a lack of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
They might not be getting out and doing the things that they normally would do. So we have to use the power of their brain to start to get back into activity, action, interaction, all those kind of things.
Right. The reason why I ask about medicines, Matt, is because I was listening to a podcast that I listen to quite regularly. It's called the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And he had a scientist on the other day. I can't remember what her name is. Apologies. And it was a female scientist who she was a doctor actually, but she doesn't work with medicine. She believes that we're being prescribed too many medicines. Now, her beliefs on depression, she thinks that, she says that she can get people off depression by just natural remedies. And she believes that the problem is with depression is people are being prescribed too many drugs. So, for instance, you'll go to the doctors and you'll say, look, I can't sleep, I'm depressed. So what the doctor will then do is he will give you a drug for depression, which will then make you tired. So then you end up, or you're not sleeping or something like that. So he'll give you sleeping tablets, and then that leads on to something else, and then something else. And she was saying at one amount of time, the average person can be on 5 separate tablets for depression, and they're all fighting against one another. And she believes that she can sort somebody's head out by basically diet, and because you are what you eat. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we'd all agree with that. But equally, medicine does some amazing things. It really does. And I think I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think if you have a combination of both, then we're really moving forward. And so we can have the correct drugs at the correct time and the correct intervention from either nutrition or visualization or trance hypnosis, whatever it may well be. So I think there's a lot of room for them to really connect. Unfortunately, GPs really only have 7 minutes per person. So that's not much time. But who knows, in the future, it may well be that a GP can refer on to someone who can help additionally to those drugs. We can always come off the drugs, but sometimes these drugs can just help someone move forward a little bit.
Yeah. So how did you get involved in it? How did you start off with hypnotherapy then, Matt? It was quite a jump, wasn't it? Quite a change in your life.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, although I've always been focused on the positives, going back to the late 80s and early 90s, I always read those kind of things, your Norman Vincent Peale's, Tony Robbins, all that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed it. But I guess in a way, it was a career change, and I wanted to do something where I felt I'd do something good. I suppose in a way, the word I'm looking for is a sense of satisfaction. So I could finish a day and think, you know what, I've really enjoyed today and I've done a bit of good. And so that was the first thing. I didn't really know what it was I was going to do, but I stumbled across a couple of hypnotherapy courses and went along to the interview, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The courses range from about 10 months. So that's your starting point. To be a practitioner, you're looking at about 450 hours of training.
That's a lot of time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And quite often the courses are 2 years rolled into 10 months to a year, purely because you get the intensity of working with people. If you bear in mind that hypnotherapy isn't just academia, it's a skill-based profession as well. So
to start your courses, do you actually need any prior qualifications?
You can, we have on our course, we have GPs, PhD, psychology students, but equally we have people who have never done any academia before in their lives. So it's really about what are they looking for? What's the potential student looking for in life? And also, do they like people? Because if you don't like working with people, then you're not going to enjoy being a hypnotherapist.
I love people.
Yeah, me too.
No, but all I was thinking, Matt, is, so I could come to you tomorrow, I never had any experience at all, do one of your courses for 450 hours. And are you saying then that after that I could go out and be a hypnotist?
Well,
hypnosis.
you would be assessed. So there'd be several tests along the way, and there'd be quite a substantial portfolio that you'd have to fill in as well. And once you've completed that and you've completed all the examinations, if you like, then you're able to go out, but you're supervised for 5 years.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, you're under supervision for 5 years. That's quite important.
So you couldn't
But equally, once you've...
Sorry, mate, carry on.
Yeah, but once you've finished the initial practitioner's course, you can then go on for the advanced course, which is 5 years.
So you started off yourself in your own practice. Then you decided you was going to do training. How many practices have you got now then? And how many people would you say that you have trained so far? Do you know?
Well, I mean, I say I've trained people from all over Europe now, but obviously I've got my my baby, if you like, the observatory practice, CPHT Plymouth, obviously in Devon. I've got a training school in Moorgate, central London, and a training school in Wembley, Greater London.
Brilliant, mate.
We also are setting up in Poland.
Really?
And New York.
Oh, New York. I did see on your Twitter page, it says Matthew Cahill, Plymouth, New York, London. It was almost like Rodney Trotter sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. But yeah, central London is an amazing venue, but equally in Plymouth, you're getting the same training there as you would do in central London. Did
the prices vary from location then?
No.
It's the same throughout, is it?
It's the same throughout, yeah.
So I did see as well as doing, what you do, you also are a speaker. You go to all these conferences, do speaking about it. What's that like?
Yeah, so basically it came about by chance, really. I was on holiday and got a phone call, email from, I won't mention the company's name, but it's a big petrol company, asking me to go along and do some talks.
Really?
And I initially didn't think it was a legitimate thing. But when I came home, we had some more conversations and I ended up doing some training for them. And then it carried on, really. So we started to do some corporate training, but more really at this kind of stage, really, it's more motivational speaking and getting people to understand that they are in control of their life. They can achieve what they want to achieve.
So it's more, like you say, it's more of a motivational thing rather than hypnosis that you're speaking that you do.
I mean, it's a mixture really, because what I am a solution-focused hypnotherapist, and there's so much neuroscience within that, it's very difficult to leave it. And so even though the motivational stuff is there, it really comes from the solution-focused hypnotherapy work.
Yeah, I listen to quite a lot of motivational speeches myself because I've been doing podcasting now since about since February. And before I launched my first podcast, I started going on YouTube and started listening to podcasts, motivational podcasts, how to build a podcast. And it is so beneficial. And it, like you say, if you're whatever you're starting, whether it be setting up a fish and chip shop or whether it may be, I don't know, setting up a kebab shop or hairdressers, whatever you want to do, there's so much to learn and listen from other people's experiences. But at the same time, motivational speeches, it's pretty much the same whatever you do throughout, isn't it? Whatever business you want to get involved in.
I think it creates a bit of energy. And we always say that when we use language, and we call it inconsequential language, and that really means problem-free language. And so if we can use problem-free language, then we can exercise the person's left frontal cortex, which will mean they'll start to have creativity. And that means then they'll start to focus on higher goals, or indeed it might just be seeing opportunities that they didn't initially see.
So what is your next goal? What is, well, I won't say what is in store for 2017 because we're nearly all the way through it, but what are you looking at towards the end of 17 and 2018? Have you got any plans, big plans?
Well, I think really, we've got a lot on as it is. But the main thing really is, I don't know if you know, but I'm starting to put out a book. So that'll be my plan for 2017 and 18, getting that published. We're getting a basic practitioner one done. Well, I'm basically wrapping that up, and then there'll be an advanced practitioner book. But obviously, we can discuss that another time. But that's my main focus really over the next few months towards the end of the year.
Nikki came home yesterday and she said, do you know what? She says, Matt's writing a book. Did I read that right? Matt is reading a book. I said, yeah, he's writing a book. And I'm really looking forward to reading it, Matt. I really am, because it's going to be an interesting one. It's funny because you're the second person that I know that is currently writing a book. I've got a friend of mine, Jodine Donahue, and I'm going to get her on my podcast very, very soon. She, about 4 or 5 years ago, she designed a teething mitten for children called the Gummy Glove. And she basically just designed this product, and now 4 years down the line, she's made her first million. She's selling to all the high streets brands. I won't go into the names, but she's selling to the big brands, and every month she's selling out of stock. She's got 4 different products. She's been on that. She's done motivational speeches. She's been asked by, is it Facetus bloke, that bloke that was on Dragon's Den? What's he called?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, she went.
That just goes to show.
She was called up by him to go to Birmingham and do a motivational speak. Absolutely amazing girl, and she's doing her own book about motivation herself. So, how hard is it to write a book? Because somebody said to me that it's really bloody difficult to sit down and write a book.
Yeah, I mean, it's mine's going to be published as well by a publishing company, and that makes it a bit more difficult. You can self-publish, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're working through a prestigious publication, then it's a little bit more difficult. It's very, very time-consuming. But it's one of those things. You learn, you delve deeper into the research, and that's what it is. But ideally, it's about getting 13 years of information, and also recognizing the gurus that have taught me. And there's still people today who inspire me on a daily basis, and that's what it's all about.
And at the same time, you've got to get rid of those trolls in your life that are constantly trying to put you down all the time, isn't it? And trying to knock you down. Oh, you're talking rubbish. Hypnotherapy doesn't work, or this doesn't work. Do you get a lot of that?
No, not really. I think we've had so much success over the years. Very rarely do I come across that now. It's always generally positive, and like I say, we've worked with several GP practices and worked with high-profile people in the government, all sorts of things, and also sporting performance. I'm currently doing some stuff for Chelsea, and I think really these days the sporting performance now, certainly within Premiership football clubs, is so intense that they need something extra. And solution-focused hypnotherapy definitely has the answer for that.
When you see Jose, can you say hello to him for me?
Well, I think he's in Manchester now, isn't he?
He's Manchester United now, isn't he? That shows how much I follow about Premiership. All right, whoever the Chelsea manager is, or Roman, when you see him, tell him, say Jaff says hello. And I am 40, but I am possibly still available for his 5th or 6th team that he might have got.
What position do you play, Mark?
Sub reserve now. I've stopped playing football. At my end of my career, I ended up in goal, and I will say I done an amazing job. But you don't get very many 5'9" short asses in goal. It was more of a 7-a-side thing until I knackered my foot in, and my consultant said, "Mark, you shouldn't really be playing football anymore. You want to be taking it a little bit more easier." So that's why I decided.
So you decided to go for taekwondo.
To take up taekwondo. I did get a lecture when I went and see my consultant on Monday. He says, "Mark, I'm signing you off our books now. I'm really pleased with your progress, but taekwondo, really?" He says, "How about yoga?"
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how expensive yoga was to do. Have you ever done yoga before?
Yeah, only briefly, but I have done it.
Yeah. There you are. So, what physical activities are you up to at the moment, Matt? Because, like you say, you are what you eat. You can't go to your practice being a bloater. You must do some sort of exercise. You look absolutely amazing, mate. What are you up to?
Yeah, okay. Well, as you know, I've always done a bit of martial arts, but that's taken a bit of a back seat, really. So the thing that fits with my lifestyle at the minute is basically going to the gym. So I try and swim every other night, and I go to the gym just to tone up, really. But a little bit of cardiovascular, but mainly toning up and just trying to keep yourself in shape.
One thing I have got to say before we go, because we're up to 30 minutes, and one thing I have got to say, I don't want to hold you up too long, is when I was living with Matthew and Lindsay, my girlfriend Nikki, she was wanting to lose some weight. So Matthew said when he very first started off, well, if you come to my practice, and I'll give you some free tuition for a month or whatnot, and we see where we go from there. So Matthew gave Nikki one of his CDs that he did at the time. And I think for about a month, I had to listen to your voice while Nikki was falling asleep. So I'm laid in bed and all I can hear is you talking to my missus, doing some relaxation. I was just like, so now I've got to live with you and I've got to listen to you talk to my missus to make her go to sleep.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Well,
and here I am again on your show.
It's great to have you on board the show. And what I wanted to do is give my listeners a chance to meet you. And what I want to do is perhaps in a month's time, when you're available, perhaps you could pop down to Cornwall, come in the studio, and we can have a proper conversation about your book and your launch date, and big up your book, basically. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, Mark, I'd love to. And it's been a pleasure chatting to you, and you've been an inspiration to me too.
Oh.
You're chasing your dreams, and that's what it's about. I'm
chasing my dreams instead of in the 90s chasing the dragon. Anyway, Matt, just before you go, would you like to tell everybody where they can find you? Have you got a Twitter page, a Facebook page? How can people find out and just get a little bit of inspiration from you?
Yeah, I've got, oh God. I mean, if you type in Matthew Cahill on Twitter, I'll pop up there. I've got a few followers. And Facebook, Google, just type in my name and I'll pop up.
Matthew Cahill, a true legend. Thank you very much, mate, and I'll see you very, very soon.
Thanks, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
I've been stolen by notions undertow. Been abandoned in a forest that's yet to grow. Within the air there's still something. I'll be on track again. 'Cause the night and I are still so young. Like a poison overture line outside of tones. Rich in color, now a line of endless strong. What was once symphony is now white noise to me. But the night is still so young. his hands hold up again. Their lips whisper amen. And the night is still so young.
So there we are. That is the song. The song is called The Night and I Are Still So Young, and that is by the Heavy Blinkers. And I told you it was a good song, didn't I? How are you feeling now? You feeling really chillaxed, really relaxed, really ready to be hypnotized? I hope you are. Anyway, that's about the end of the show, guys. Thank you very much for tuning us in again and listening to episode 19 of the Marc Jeffrey Podcast Show. Next week is episode 20. Yes, the big 20. Really, really looking forward to that. Haven't got a clue what I've got lined up for that yet, so it's going to be a surprise for next week. My name is Marc Jeffrey. It's been great to have you listening once again. Don't forget you can send me some comments at jaff10@hotmail.com. I really want to listen to your thoughts about the show. You can also get onto iTunes, the Marc Jeffrey Podcast Show. Go straight to iTunes and go. There's some comments bits there. You can leave a comment. I really like to for you to leave me a comment. Get people out there knowing where I am. It all helps. You can also find me on Mixcloud. You can find me obviously on Libsyn where we are. And don't forget, guys, to check out my webpage, which is www.jaff10.simplesite.com. And you can also go over to Twitter at MrJaff10. Get involved, guys. Get in contact with me. Tell me exactly what you're thinking of the show, and I really, really, really appreciate that. All of tonight's people that's been on here, we've had Black Needle Noise, we've also had the Heavy Blinkers, Matthew Cahill. All of those people, I will put the links to their pages on my show description notes, so check that out. And I hope you have a cracking week, and I look forward to spending some time with you, same time, same place next week. So in the meantime, I just want you to remember this one last final thing. Look after yourself and others, and remember, your life may not be as crazy as you once thought it was.